In just under half a second, this cat goes from doing nothing to unleashing more raw power than most humans could produce with a full running start. So, what changes in that half a second? What flips the switch between total rest and total power? The answer is not instincts, it's not adrenaline, it's something built into the muscle itself. And it turns out this cat is not alone. Rodents, rabbits, and even mice are capable of that same kind of sudden, explosive power. And then there's us. Something in evolution changed. So scientists went looking for that difference, not in behavior, not in bone structure, but at the smallest scale possible, inside the muscle itself. They soaked the tissue in different solutions of different acidity and watched closely to see how it would react. And that's when something became clear. This wasn't one uniform tissue, it was made of different types of fibers, hiding in plain sight all along. The real question now was which fiber did what. First, the fibers fell into two broad groups, type 1 and type 2, based on their distinct features. But type 2 turned out to be more complicated than that. As researchers looked closer, they realized it wasn't just one fast fiber, it was several, each with its own subtle differences. So, type 2 split further into type 2A and type 2X, and the one that distinguishes the rodents from humans. But before we get into that missing piece, let's break down what each type of these fibers actually do. Type 1 muscle fibers are the endurance fibers, not explosive, not sudden, but built to last for miles, for hours without breaking down. This is the fiber that makes you stand for hours, walk for miles, or hold a steady pace without your muscles ever giving up. But endurance was never the cat's problem. Its problem was speed. Type 1 fibers are called as the slow twitch fibers because of how slowly they contract and relax. Each contraction, each release just takes a little bit longer. It's not a weakness, it's a rhythm built for endurance and not for speed. And that is why it doesn't get tired easily. To keep this rhythm going on for hours, this fiber comes packed with mitochondria, hundreds of them tightly clustered, ready to work. These mitochondria act like tiny power plants, constantly breaking down fuel using oxygen to keep producing energy, one steady supply after another. That's the real secret behind endurance. And that's why this fiber is also called oxidative, because it depends on oxygen to keep that energy flowing nonstop, and a higher myoglobin content gives it a red appearance. Type 1 fibers are wrapped in an extensive network of capillaries, far more than their faster counterparts, delivering oxygen and fuel directly, with barely any distance to travel. And there's another reason for that efficiency. Type 1 fibers are simply smaller in diameter than type 2 fibers. A smaller fiber means oxygen doesn't have far to travel to reach its core. Type 2A fibers have different kind of balance, not pure endurance like a marathon, not pure explosion like a sprint, something in between, fast but able to keep going. But here's the nuance. 2A is fast as compared to type 1, but it's actually the slower of the two fast fibers. Type 2X contracts even faster. Think of type 2A as fast, just not the fastest. The same in between nature shows up in fatigue resistance too. 2A is not as tireless as type 1, but it's far more resilient than 2X. This resilience comes from its mitochondria. 2A carries a moderate density, not as packed as type 1, but enough to keep supporting energy production for longer than a more explosive fiber can ever do. And that's why these fibers are called oxidative-glycolytic. Oxidative because moderate density of mitochondria and oxidative enzymes gives it the ability to generate ATP using oxygen, which is what allows it to sustain repeated effort without fatiguing too quickly, unlike a pure glycolytic fiber. It's called glycolytic because it also relies heavily on anaerobic glycolysis, which is breaking down of energy in the absence of oxygen. Inside type 2A fibers, oxidative enzymes like succinate hydrogenase are still hard at work. Not at the same intensity as type 1, but enough to keep the aerobic energy system running when it's needed. That activity comes with a visible signature myoglobin, the protein that stores oxygen inside the muscle fiber itself. Type 2A carries a moderate amount, giving it that in between color, not as deep as type 1, but far from pale. Type 2A fibers have a good capillary supply, less dense than type 1 but richer than type 2X, and a fiber diameter that sits in between the two. Type 2X fibers are the fastest fibers that the human body actually uses. They are built for maximum power. Its myosin ATPase works faster than any other fiber in the human body, contracting and releasing almost instantly. But that speed comes at a cost. Type 2X fatigues quickly. It's built for a single explosive effort, not for holding that intensity for long. Mitochondria are scarce in this fiber. It's not built to sustain steady, long term energy production. It's built to spend everything at once. Type 2X fibers have a poor capillary supply and the largest fiber diameter of the three. So, what about the missing muscle fiber? That's type 2B fiber, the fiber we left out of the picture until now. It's the fastest, most explosive fiber of all of them, even less oxidative than 2X. But here's the twist, this fiber is found in rodents or cats, but are essentially absent in adult humans. We do carry the gene that could build this fiber. It's called MYH4, but in human adults, the gene stayed switched off. It's a blueprint we simply never use. So, somewhere in our evolution, we didn't lose this power, we simply stopped using it. It's not that we can't have that power, we just never turned it on. As humans evolved for endurance over explosive strength, this fiber quietly faded out of use. So, the next time your cat pulls off a leap like that, you're not just watching instinct, you're watching a fiber your body forgot how to use.